We are live. So everybody, you guys are in for a serious treat today. We've got Darryl Davis, the author of How to Become a Power Agent in Real Estate. This guy is really a rubber meets the road, teaching you the skills, strategies, and techniques of listings and how to get the job done. So everybody, get your pad and paper out, get ready to take notes, pay really close attention. You're going to get some amazing nuggets today. Let's go, Darryl Davis.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. And Alex, I'm very excited that you're moderating this time, and as opposed to Tristan, I gave a little dig there for Tristan. I noticed you didn't jump in on that. You were just, so you're being very politically correct. You didn't want to get in trouble with Tristan. All right, let's see. We're going to share my screen over here, so that way we can get into this. And hang on, let's go to this, bada bing. So, Alex, thanks for jumping in and doing this. I really do appreciate it. So what we're going to talk about during the Power Agent series that we do for LabCode, which this is a monthly session that we do for the LabCode agents, is how to guarantee 2021 is going to be a breakthrough year. Now, before I get into the topics, I want to tell you something. A special announcement that we're doing, and we're spreading the word here. So before I get into the content, I want to spread the word on something. 2020 has been a challenging year for a lot of people. Now, our industry has done pretty well, but when we hear stuff about this pandemic and stuff, 2020 has been a lot of focus on that and the vaccine. But Alex, I don't know if you're aware of this. What hasn't been talked enough about is the food insecurity because of the pandemic. Now, this is something that I just recently learned, and that's why I want to just talk about it, make more people aware of it, is that the food insecurity in the United States, you'll see that line of demarcation right there when the pandemic happened. We are at the highest level of food insecurity. I just saw on CNN before I jumped on this webinar that the food banks are financially in trouble. They're basically depleted. You look at the category of income levels for people. Every income level, even people making six figures, has doubled, in some cases more than doubled over the previous year. So what we're doing, our special announcement, I just putting out there, Alex, is a lot of people know I have a coaching program called the Power Program for Power Agents, and we have a trial that's $5. So 2 weeks ago, we made a commitment as a company that 100% of our trial revenue is going to Feeding America. And in just the first 2 weeks, it's been 3 weeks now, we have generated enough money to pay for 8,950 meals. So we're really proud of that. We're going to keep doing it. I'm going to show you this. And again, I want to get the message out to people. Feeding America, the way they manage their finances and their food and corporate sponsors and every dollar pays for 10 meals. So they really know how to stretch that dollar. I actually want to talk to my wife and see if she can do better shopping and find out what Feeding America is doing right. But anyway, so we're getting the word out about that. All right, so let's get into this content about how to make sure 2021 is a breakthrough year for everybody. Now, for those people that haven't seen me before, haven't been with me before, I've been training for over 30 some odd years for real estate professionals. And as you said, Alex, in that great intro, I wrote the book on how to become Power Agent Real Estate, but I have personally trained tens of thousands of agents. And I would say that what I've noticed is really helps agents to guarantee their success is they have these three ingredients. And we're going to talk about these three ingredients. Number one is they focus on short-term goals as opposed to long-term. I'm not saying long-term is bad. I'm not saying don't do long-term, but short-term powerful. So I'm going to go back and teach this in a second. Number two is they have some kind of support, emotional support, encouragement, all of that. So we're going to talk about that. And the last is that they've mastered the three areas of real estate as far as skill set, the listing and selling skills. And we'll talk about what those three are. But let's start first with the short-term goals. The reason, how my book came about, Alex, how to become Power Agent Real Estate, I wrote for McGraw-Hill years ago. It came about because of a training course I would teach live. The Power Program was a live format. It was a whole year. Agents doubled their income over their previous year. So that program put me on the map, and McGraw-Hill called me and said, would you write a book about what you do? And one of the ingredients that I've noticed that really help agents succeed is having short-term versus long-term goals. Because the problem with long-term goals is that people think, I got a 12-month goal to 2021, I'll work on it in November because I got plenty of time. But when it's short-term, it's more urgent. So here's what I'm going to suggest that people do. And like I said, we have a business plan that we give to our students. It's a 43-page business plan. And so it's very detailed. But in addition to that, so I do teach the long term, but let's look at the short term. You can call them to-do lists if you like. I don't care. But I think the short term could be three things. First, maybe quarterly. So you could have your year thing, but then break it down, look at the quarter, the next quarter. The next thing is perhaps by week. And then, of course, there's for the day. So let's just take a look at this, for example, the quarterly. One of the things we gave our power agents, we actually did a webinar on this on a marketing calendar saying that, all right, in the first quarter of 2021, what's all the marketing that you can do? What are some of the things that you can do? And then in the second quarter, third, and so on. But along with marketing, what I suggest people do for this 2021 is to look at the top 3 or 4 things that you want to make sure that you accomplish in the first quarter. Just 3 major things that you'd like to make sure that you do in your business to bring your business to the next level. I'm going to say what I said a moment ago. When you do quarterly, weekly, and daily, it's more urgent. You have time to mess around. You're more inspired because how's that expression go? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? So you want to break it down, right? All right. Now, what you could also do in addition to this is you could take there's a concept called OKR. I don't want to get too lost in the weeds on this, but Google uses it. IBM created it. Who's the other ones that are doing it? Yahoo, I believe, did it. OKRs, where you take let me go back. You take several of your goals that you have in the first quarter. So let's say you've got 3. You take one of those 3 goals for the quarter. You create a strategy now. All right, here's the 3 steps that I need to do for that one. So if you've got 3 goals for the quarter and you have strategies for each one, you're looking at 9 items on your to-do list. Let's take a look at weekly. So Alex, one of the things that we do with our coaching students, our power agents, is, and Julie spearheads this, she does an incredible job with this. Every month we give our power agents this calendar as to here's some ideas on what to do for the month. Like each day it gives just one tip. Because sometimes agents are like, what should I do today? Well, here, just do at least this one thing. Call 5 people, past clients, whatever. Then what we do, because we know we need to do this, Alex, we spoon feed it. Then we take that calendar and we break it into, all right, here's week 1, here's week 2, here's week 3, here's week 4. Some people like the big calendar. Some people like the weekly. We send it out to them on Monday. But what I want to focus on and just point out something that's really powerful is this part right here. So I talked about quarterly. This is, all right, here's your calendar for the week. Here's suggestions of things that you can do. You don't have to, but here's suggestions. But the most important thing on this weekly is what are those top 3 things that you must accomplish? Alex, you're a very successful agent. You're growing your team. That's pretty awesome. I don't have to tell you this. Sometimes we feel like we're on this treadmill. We're working really hard. We're doing a lot of stuff. And then at the end of the day, you did a lot, but you feel like you ate a bag of potato chips. Like you're empty calories. Like you don't feel like, what did I do? I know I did a lot. And part of why that is because we're working from crisis, not by objective. We're putting out fires. We're doing a lot of stuff, but we're not causing our business. So if we say, all right, listen, no matter what happens with all the craziness I'm going to be faced with this week, what are those 3 things that if I do these 3 things, I'm going to have a sense of accomplishment. I'm going to feel like I moved the ball down the court closer to my goal. This is powerful.
Versus reactive, right?
What? Say that again, Alex?
Proactive versus reactive.
Exactly. Now, you can go one step further. So we give this to the power agents too. And by the way, I don't expect that our students do everything that we teach, but I give it, I say, it's like, we're like a Chinese buffet. When we used to, I haven't been to a restaurant in over a year, or it's going to be a year. but you know, the Chinese buffet concept, you go to a buffet and there's any buffet and there's all of these dishes. You don't have to eat everything. You take what you like, leave the rest. Same concept here. Like I give a lot of stuff and the students just decide what they want. But anyway, let me just show you this. So my top must-do task for today. So this is different from the week one. So, all right, so here's what I'm going to absolutely do. I have to do today, no matter what. These are really important. Here's some additional to-dos that I'm going to do. And then at the end of the day, I think this is really important, Alex, is acknowledge yourself. You know, I was doing some readings and studies about accomplishment, the sense of accomplishment. And we don't see time as like 24 hours in a day. Our body is not like that. It thinks of accomplishments. How we measure our life is not in years, but by events that we happen or things that we've accomplished. So how we can actually slow down our lives and appreciate our lives that we live is taking the time to acknowledge the accomplishments at the end of the day, what we have done. And then of course, there's some miscellaneous stuff. So these are just some ideas to have short-term goals, to create a sense of urgency. This is what I have to do, what's right in front of me. Here's the second thing that I've noticed, and I'm going to encourage people to focus on, is having support in their life. You know, sometimes an agent, Alex, I know you know this, is that they can be working or be around a whole bunch of people, but still feel lonely in real estate. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that sometimes agents feel lonely, and no matter how productive they are. And it's really important, I think, that we have that sense of support and encouragement and not have that sense of being alone. You know, I'll share this with you, Alex, because you and I are just meeting for the first time, is I ran the New York City Marathon. That's me. Wow, yes. Was that like, wow, like, really? Like you don't believe, like you looked at, that's a huge you're looking at me, you fat thing. You really?
No, if I'm going to go 26.2 miles, I'm taking the car.
Yeah, I'm impressed that you know 26.2 miles. Some people like to forget about the 2.2. No, that's the worst. The 0.2 is the hardest. But anyway, if you notice, you know, I got 6 hours, 41 minutes. Anybody that's ran marathons, they know that's really bad time. You'll notice in the picture here, Alex, there's nobody in the bleachers. And the people in the orange jackets are actually breaking down the race. The race was over hours ago. I just barely made it. There was people in wheelchairs, Alex, that beat me. So it was a really horrible time. I'm not a runner. I did it to raise money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. That's why I did it. Now,
fantastic.
But yeah, so it was very awesome. Now, here's the reason why I'm sharing this though, is because I hate working out, and I'm just not one of those people. I'm not, you know. I just don't. And, but with this marathon, the reason why I did it is because I wanted to raise money, right, for the leukemia. And so I had some purpose and passion. Now, the real reason why I share this is that when I was running the marathon, Alex, in New York City, that I heard this and I didn't really know what it was like until I experienced it. What everybody would talk about is the energy of the people on the side of the road cheering on the runners. Alex, I'll tell you something, the experience of these people being so enthusiastic they don't know who I am. My name was on my shirt. And I had so many people, go Darryl, go Darryl. And it's like you fed off the energy of those people cheering you on. Sure. And that is such a powerful, powerful ingredient. When you have people who believe you, like they actually had speakers. And so that way the speaker everybody running could hear over the other cheering. There was actually music on the side of the road. I mean, we're talking full bands for people playing this incredible music. It was when you have people who are cheering you on, you get that support. You run further, you run faster in your life, and you don't feel alone. So that support is so important ingredient, especially going into 2021, especially coming off this pandemic. We need to have that sense of belonging and encouragement. I will tell you, I found that these two ladies, or three ladies, they really made me laugh, because you'll notice this one, she says, "You've got stamina, call me." Okay, that was a good sign. That had me go for another couple of miles. This one, I hear they have free beer at the finish line. Hurry! So It's so much fun. There are some other photos too, but I won't show that. So become part of a support group or something. Now, when you're in some kind of support, encouragement, Alex, I'm assuming you, because you're a very successful agent, you probably are in some kind of coaching and training program. Am I assuming correctly?
Yes.
Every top agent is. Every top agent is, whether it's me or one of my colleagues, because here's the benefits. First of all, it takes years off your learning. You know, when I first became a speaker, Alex, I met this guy by the name of Floyd Wickman. He was my mentor and about speaking, and he encouraged me to join the National Speakers Association. There's just a few thousand of us. And I got to tell you, my first convention, it took years. I would say 5 years off of my trying to figure it out myself. You succeed quicker when you don't have to, when people pave the way for you and you learn from their mistakes. The encouragement, man, that's to me is one of the biggest things I find with our students that they really love. All artists and athletes have some kind of coach. You don't know, a lot of times you don't know the name of the coach. I mean, if it's major league, ball, that's different. But singer, I mean, every singer that I've ever met, they have a coach. I don't know the names of those singing coaches, but they're very powerful and it keeps you focused. So I cannot stress enough, anybody that going into 2021, make sure that you have some kind of support structure. One of the things we did is we added weekly calls to our coaching for our students. We didn't have this before, but because of the pandemic, we made ourselves available every week that the agents can call and get questions. Use the motivational devices. Now, I'm going to share this with you, Alex. I'm going to share a couple of my favorites and our power, because we have dozens in our website for our students. But I'm going to focus on the first one there, the listing inventory chart. We talk about inventory in real estate, getting listings. And I tell students, we want to try not just get listings, but build and maintain inventory, which is so challenging in this market. The concept of inventory is like the shoe store photo there. Like if you've got a store, a shoe store that you own, and you got a lot of shoes on the racks, if a store kept selling their inventory but they didn't replenish it, the challenge that they have there, they have a lot of sales, but now they've got an empty store. And in real estate, our shoes, our inventories, our listings. And when agents don't have listings, they have no inventory. They've got an empty store. And by the way, Alex, right? Does that shoe store still cost money?
It sure does. You got that over no matter what.
You got to pay your rent. You got to pay your utilities. You got staff. You got to pay them. Just like in real estate, we have expenses. So this is why one of the things that I'm telling agents, I'm encouraging them to do is make sure that if you can, or it's okay to take overpriced listings, because when listings sell too quick, it's not good across the board. Now, you don't want to take it too high where it's going to become stale bread and then it's going to hurt the homeowner. You don't want to do that. The homeowner's got to move quickly. So of course, it's what the homeowner's commitment is priority. But if a homeowner's not in a hurry, man, and you know that thing will sell in a few months at this higher price, then I say kick it up, because now you have yard signs, you can run your ads, that helps generate more business. So one of the things I suggest agents do to help stay focused on this is create a chart, a listing inventory chart, and it goes like this. Let's say, well, it says 6 and then it goes down to 2. So let's just start with this 6. If let's say an agent goes into the month of January with 6 listings, and let's say, Alex, 4 of them went into contract, that'd be pretty exciting. It's like, wow, I got 4 sales in the month of January. Hot diggity dang. But the problem is their inventory just went down to 2. Here's the powerful thing about this concept, Alex, is that whatever this chart shows is what the income cash flow for the agent is going to be in the future. And I say in the future because it's delayed. See, those 4 listings went to contract. In a month or 2 when they close, you have a surge of cash. You got 4 closings. But after those closings, you're dry the next month because your inventory went dry. Mm-hmm. So what we want to try and do is not just get listings, but build and maintain inventory. And if you set goals, and here's one of the goals I like to tell agents to do, focus on building your inventory by 1 a month. So if you've got 0 right now, just get 1 in the next 30 days. Now in month 2, get another 1. Now you're up to 2. Month 3, you're up to 3. Now let's say month 3, 2 of those listings sold. Well, now you've got to replenish those 2 plus 1 more. So in other words, every month, active listings with you, focus on building it by 1 a month. You do that, you'll double your income in a year. Here's something else. is a vision board and dot board. We call this gamifying real estate. So you've seen these vision boards, I'm sure, right, Alex? You cut out. Yeah. So what we did is we created a dual board, right? So half of it is the vision concept where you put your photos and the things that represent what you want your life to look like at the end of the year. But the right side is the dot board. And here's how this thing works. And I got to tell you, Alex, I've had students who've told me they've doubled their income because of this silly little board. I'm going to show you. So let's say you go on a listing appointment, you have a conversation, and they sign, you get a listing, bada bing, you give yourself a dot. Okay? Yay, I got a dot. Okay, good. You go on another listing appointment, and you get another listing, bada bing, got a second dot. So the concept of the dot board is immediate gratification. You're acknowledging yourself, which is important because success breeds more success. You get to see how your business is doing in a snapshot. Now, let's say one of your listings goes into contract. Another agent sold your listing. Bada bing, you got a listing sold because you count it when it goes to contract. And let's say you had a buyer call in and you showed them a house and you sold them somebody else's listing, bada bing, you got another dot. So that's the concept of the dot board, is tracking your business. And I'm telling you, it gamifies it, makes real estate fun, puts the fun in it, keeps you focused, the whole 9 yards. You know, Tristan, I'm sure you get these emails. Do you read these emails, Alex?
Absolutely. I love his Brilliant Tribe emails.
These are great. This is part of the support thing that I'm talking about. You know, anybody is not getting these, they got to make sure they opt in, pay attention, because there's some nuggets in there. You know, which is funny. The screenshot you see there, he says he's listening to Jerry Seinfeld's Routines and Methods of Success. I don't know how he found that, but ironically, before I even saw this email, I was listening to that very same show myself just a couple of days ago, and it's pretty awesome. And but anyway, there's so many great nuggets that he does in these Brilliant Tribe emails that is part of that support thing. This is what we did with our students. And we just do this for our power agents. We don't send it out to, like Tristan is so generous. He shares it to everybody. Our students, we send them on Saturday these strategies. Here's what to, just like one thing, like this was an infographic for they can copy and paste it and use it in their business. Then on Thursday, we do this. Is it Thursday, Julie? What day is the Power Agent Toolkit? Julie?
Thursday Toolkit.
Thursday Toolkit, which is some other checklists that we give the agents that they can use. And then Wednesday is our webinars. We do them weekly, not like Lab Coat. You guys, it's like 5 a day or something. I don't know how you guys do this. Thank God for Jake and Sandra and everybody else. Then you got the Tuesday training that we send out to them. Then Monday motivation. That's where we give them that calendar for the week that Alex that I was showing you earlier. So anyway, this is what we do to give the support that the agents have. So let's go back. Number 1, short goals. Number 2 is support to stay focused. Number 3 is improving the 3 skill sets necessary to be great in real estate. So what are those 3 skills? Here we go. Are you ready, Alex? Are you excited?
I'm holding on.
Are you holding? Okay, that's very polite. Attitude. Attitude is a skill set,
Yes.
right? If your head's not screwed, like some agents, their biggest problem is what's in between their ears.
Mindset, self-limiting beliefs. I mean, you got to get over those.
You got to get over those. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Listing and selling skills. And then the third one is business skills. To me, these are skill sets. Do you know, Alex, my wife, she used to be a pastry chef, and she taught me something I didn't know this about chefs. They have classes on certain things. One of the classes is, I forget what they call it. It's a French word. I can't speak it. It's about being organized. There's a class for chefs on how to be organized, your cooking space, how things should be put in their place. They have classes on knives. What are the right knives? How to use the knives? In other words, there's skill sets to being a chef. Using knives is a skill set. Being organized is a skill set. In real estate, those are our skill sets. If we were going to take a class like a chef, there's how to keep a positive mental attitude, how to do the listing and selling, and how to run your business like a business. Let me go a little deeper on this. Let's talk about the attitude skill set. Our attitude, our attitude dictates our altitude. I want to make sure, give me 1 second. I want to make sure I'm not going off time over here. So I usually have my clock and I forgot to put it up. Make sure I finish on time. So we got our attitude dictates our altitude, right? As a matter of fact, that's what they call that in the airplane. It's the altitude thing. So, you know, when this pandemic hit, right? I found this this thing that John F. Kennedy talked about that he learned, and then he wrote about it, on how the Japanese symbol for crisis is actually two symbols put together: danger and opportunity. And the power in that is, in crisis, there's an opportunity for us to get better. So we were really putting out at the beginning of the pandemic, and this is still true, and this is why I'm covering it now, because it's still true today, is that the opportunity that we have in crisis is to become stronger. You know, how you sharpen a pencil is you've got to put it through the friction, but it's the friction that creates the sharpness. What we've known is, like in real estate, we've talked about how technology is going to be important. It's no longer going to be important. We basically reached out, this pandemic reached out into the future by 10 years and put it into our present. Everybody had to get skilled really quick with technology. You see, that's an opportunity. That made the business stronger and better. The other thing it noticed, and part of the reason why I believe real estate's did well in the pandemic, is because we were telling people to shelter into their home. And for sale by owners saw just how important real estate professionals were. Buyers saw it more, so they came to us more, you see. But anyway, so this new real estate reality, we have to keep reinventing ourselves, getting stronger. Here's a company that did not reinvent themselves, BlackBerry. BlackBerry used to own the cell phone and texting market. Before Apple invented iPhones, BlackBerry was the bomb. They owned it. But they were also arrogant. And there's been studies done about BlackBerry. When the market started to shift, they were like, we ain't shifting. We're not followers. We're leaders. We're BlackBerry. And because of that arrogance, they lost market share to companies like Apple with the iPhone. Blockbuster, I don't know how old you are, Alex. You look like a young guy.
No, I was just going to say, maybe it's something with a BL and then a B again in the word, like Blackberry, Blockbuster. Something to this.
So do you remember Blockbuster? Were you around then, or you were too young? Okay.
Absolutely.
So the younger kids, why they don't know what we're talking about. This is how we used to watch movies. There's no Netflix or getting it online, and you had to get in your car, drive to a building, and then rent a box of tape, and then you bring it, put it in a VCR. This is how Blockbuster, when the market started to shift, started to go online, they were like, what are we going to do? We can't change. We can't shift. We have all of these buildings, thousands of stores, all this inventory. We can't. We have to stay here like this. And because they didn't change and shift, Blockbuster went out of business, basically. I mean, I think they're still out there doing something. Maybe the stock's $1.50. I don't know. Then this over here, this is interesting. This AOL. Now, Alex, when AOL first came out, they were the leader in the internet. They had, this is a screenshot. They were Gmail. They were Gmail all in one. They were Gmail. They were the news. They were shopping. They were Amazon. They were Google. If you wanted to Google something, they were Facebook before Facebook was really Facebook as Facebook is today. AOL was everything all in one. But because they were arrogant, they didn't change, they didn't shift with the market, you had these other companies who've taken market share away from them. So in keeping a positive attitude in 2021, here's two suggestions I'm going to suggest to people to look at, is your personal finances, your success. You've got to measure it. So you've got to financially be responsible, and also what you give to others. So from the financial end of it, you know, what I suggest people do is very simple. We call this the easy business plan, because I'm not that smart. I only went to college for a year and I was a thespian, so I'm not very smart. So I like to dumb things down for me, Alex. And so I came up with the easy business plan. What do you need to pay your bills in your business life, in your personal life? You got to pay your taxes, and then miscellaneous is your fund money, your next level money, your college savings for the kids, or your retirement, your investment, whatever. And then you break it down very simple, how many listings you need, how many sales you need, but we all know it's very simple, easy business plan. So we need to do that part. But here's the other part too, is like for us, the attitude, Alex, we're very passionate. My company now, we're about the 100,000 meals. We are so pushing that concept, and we're taking our student money, as I had said earlier. My whole company, now everything's tied to hit this goal of 100,000 meals, because that's what's needed right now for people. So the better that we do in our business, the better we can help these families. What we tell our students is not to, power agents, they coach people, they don't close people. Power agents serve people, we don't sell people. Now, so what I'm trying to say here, Alex, is I don't want to get too lost in the weeds on this, but what we tell our students is that we don't just list and sell real estate. We actually help people get to their next level in life. That's really what real estate professionals do. And the money is good, but the money, in my opinion, is a gauge as to how many lives we've touched. The more lives we've touched, the more money we make. So we really push that concept for our students, because I'm going to tell you something else, Alex. The agents who are afraid to prospect is because the focus is on them trying to get a listing appointment and doing it the right way. And the best way to sometimes manage the fear is not manage the fear, but focus on a commitment outside of yourself. What's interesting is when we are focused and committed to people outside of our heads, we're usually more effective. We usually get more energy because it's not about us, you see? So, but anyway, so that's the attitude. So focus, take care of your money, but focus on serving other people. There's somebody today who wants to buy a house, somebody who wants to sell it to them. Our job is to bring these people together. The second thing is listing and selling skills. Let's talk a little bit about this. You referenced my book at the beginning. This book was based on the listing and selling skills, and each chapter goes into these skill sets: managing your time, prospecting the listing appointment, servicing listings, technology, buyers. So it goes through all that. So I'm going to just touch upon a couple of them right now, because we've only got however much time we have left, 20 some odd minutes. Let's talk about prospecting. The two commitments I suggest that people make when it comes to prospecting for listings is the focus on the activity. And I'll talk about the second one in a second. So the activity is like, if you look at this as a tire that obviously has no spokes, you can't use this tire. You need the spokes that gives integrity to the tire. And when it comes to prospecting, the same thing. Every spoke is a form of prospecting. And so what an agent should do is not just have one thing that they do, but have a few things that they're doing, like spokes in a wheel. Now, there is a point of diminishing return. You don't want to do too much. Like if I kept adding spokes to that tire, it would not make it a better tire. As a matter of fact, it would make it less effective because it become too weighted. It would be less aerodynamic. So there's a balance between it. Here, so I'm going to just spew out a bunch of things we teach our students. We tell them, pick whatever works for you. Social media is a spoke in the wheel of prospecting. Mailings is a spoke. Door knocking, advertising, self-promotion, referrals, and past clients. Those are all spokes. Now, I break them up into future business and now business. Now business would be FSBOs, expireds, houses for rent, old FSBO. Like if I tell somebody, if you need listings in the next 30 days, focus on the right side, not the left, you see. So what an agent should do, one of our students, he said what he really loves about what we tell people is to pick your own approach, whatever works best for you. Like Alex, how I built my business was FSBOs and expireds. That's why my strength is that, and I'll tell you something, you're from New York FSBOs, they're the toughest, meanest. These people, they curse at you and then they hang up. Then you got to call them back and say, I'm sorry, we got disconnected. So it takes a lot of chutzpah, another New York term, to prospect for sale owners and expireds. So what I suggest people do, pick some spokes, create a calendar for yourself like this, and gamify. I love to gamify. I love having fun. And so you gamify your business. You make a list of what are the things you're going to do, what are the spokes in the wheel. You wouldn't have this many. You can, but don't do them all. Like you just, if you do 2 or 3 a day, this is a good thing, right? And then you give yourself little credits for doing it. Those are the now business. Those are the favorite ones. All right. So you've got activities. Focus on your activity. And the second thing is make sure you have a schedule. You know, Alex, you look healthy. Do you go to the gym?
I do.
Yeah, I could tell. Don't like people like you. My idea of a good workout is I fill up my bathtub, I pull the plug, and I fight the current. Now, how many days do you go to the gym? I hope you're wearing a mask there, Alex. When you go to the gym, how many days do you go?
Typically 5 days a week.
Oh my God, I really hate you. Okay, so now, if you missed a day or two, correct me if I'm wrong, you probably feel a little lethargic. Am I right?
You know, and it's not even just the overall, it's in the mind. It's a total mind trick, because then I'm upset with myself for not going.
You feel like you broke your word with yourself. It's an integrity issue.
Yes.
You've also trained your brain to get addicted to that process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'm going to guess you don't fit the gym into your life. You fit your life into the commitment of the gym.
True.
Everything works around that.
True.
That's what agents have to do when it comes to prospecting. That if you ever try to squeeze your prospecting into your life, you're never going to do it, because you're always going to be too busy to ever get to it. So if you train your brain like you've trained your body 5 days a week, and if you skip a day, you feel guilty, like you're out of integrity with yourself. And that's really important. So people need to train themselves to go to the prospecting gym, right? Now, at first, you're not going to like it. For those of you who don't do it, but you do it enough, you have some success, but you're gonna be really hooked on it. Okay. Also, improving your listing conversation. We don't call it listing presentation, we call it listing conversation, because people don't like to be presented and sold, but they will have a conversation with a real estate professional, help them get to the next level, because that's what's important to them.
Words matter.
That's right. Words matter. That's So one of the things agents, some of the things, my goodness,
Darryl, we got a mic problem.
when did that happen? Are we good now? Is it good?
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. I think I hit it, Julie, is what I did.
You got all excited, didn't you?
Yeah. Julie tells me, Darryl, you have to stop moving. I can't wait to get on a stage in front of a live audience again. I'm like bugging out over here. Anyway. So am I good enough, right? Some agents, they ask the question, am I good enough? They have insecurity about themselves. Let me just cover a couple of things. First of all, anybody that's a realtor, you're already good enough, because you got, if you got licensed in your state, and the fact the state gives you a license, that says, but I mean, you are good enough to practice real estate. I'm going to show you something. That NOLA is one of those places that attorneys use to do research for cases. And when you go to practicing real estate, I copied this, says anytime you act on someone's behalf when buying or selling real estate in order to receive a fee, commission, or any other type of compensation, you have to be you're engaging in the practice of real estate. So to do this legally, you must properly be licensed. If you are not licensed, you're committing a crime. It means that just what it says, right? If you want to help other people and get paid for in the area of real estate, you must be licensed. We are a profession that provides a powerful service to people, just like any profession, whether it's a financial planner or insurance salesperson or an attorney or whatever. So we are valuable. Any agent, especially new agent that's insecure, don't be, because the state says you are qualified to help other people. You know, real estate, there's a maze when people are trying to sell a property. And by the way, selling real estate is not just finding the buyer and going to contract. You got to make sure that that thing goes from contract to closing. That's a whole other set of skill sets that a chef needs to have. And homeowners, they don't realize this. They think it's just finding a buyer. That's all you got to do. So what we do as real estate professionals is we guide people through the maze of real estate. So again, it's not just selling the house or finding the buyer. There's a lot more to the process of what we do to help people. One of the things I suggest, we did this for our students, is we created this brochure on the 184 tasks that an agent does from start to finish to help a homeowner. I tell agents, if you're insecure about yourself, sit down, take a piece of paper, write out all the reasons and all the things that you do that you're licensed to do to help other people get from point A to point B in their life. And if you're competing against another agent, you find that happening a lot, create a chart. Write down all of the features and benefits of the things that you do that you're really great at, that your company's really great at, and how it's better when you're competing with another agent. I'm not talking about ever talking down or talking bad about other people, because I don't believe you build the tallest building by breaking down others. But if you are going to be faced, like if I'm in Vegas and if I know that I'm going to be up against you, Alex, I'm going to have to figure out where am I stronger than you. So that way, if the homeowner brings up your name, I'm prepared to say, let me show you, Alex isn't as good as you think he is, and do that. Now, the thing that I am real proud of is bringing this concept and this training to real estate professionals, and that's the power of using stories, metaphors, analogies. Now, a lot of agents, successful agents, do this, Alex, and they don't even realize they're doing it. And but I teach this now as a formula for agents. You see, I mean, I've been teaching it for years. Let me give you, for instance. You know, when a homeowner says, like, I don't need an agent because I can sell it myself, the market is hot. Anytime somebody sells their own piece, it's always going to be less than if there's a profession behind it selling. I'll give you, for instance, Kelley Blue Book. So I was looking at buying a used truck, a GMC Denali. And so this is what I discovered. And Alex, I'm going to suggest that you do this after the webinar, just for the heck of it. Go to Kelley Blue Book and type in your car. And your make, your model, your miles. And everybody watching, do it with your car. Here's what you're going to find. This Yukon Denali, when I did it, because this is now several months, it said the average price was $40,000 to $45,000 from a dealer. Now, I then said, you'll see the little tab there. It says buy privately. It's at the right over there. You can barely see it. But if you would click on that, here's what it showed. Buying privately was 38 to 43. That's a difference of 5% for the exact same car. Here's why. The concept, whoops, I dropped something. The concept is when you are buying from the individual, there's no protection really for the buyer. The only reason why somebody would buy from somebody private is because they're looking for a deal. They're looking to save some money. But the buyer that goes to the business is backing the sale. They can sell it for more. And same is true in real estate. Homeowners that sell their own home, there's a lot of risk for that buyer. They're not getting the help and support if they're not using the agent. So that's an example of an analogy. Let me, whoops, I think I've broken my thing, so I'm going to go manual. You can take metaphors, analogies, and stick it into two categories. There's handling objections, like price, commission. Let me give a few examples of that. So let's say one of the objections is we have so many buyers as a FSBO, I don't need an agent. Well, let me ask you a question, Alex. If you were going to buy a couch, where would you, I'm going to role play with you like you're a homeowner. Great. So Alex, if you were going to buy a couch, where would you go?
The furniture store.
Very good. Give me a name of a store you would go to.
RC Willey.
RC Willey. Give me a higher end there. I'm assuming RC Willey is not the high end, or is he?
Let's go with Macy's Home Store.
All right, let's go with Ethan. Let's go with Ethan Allen because that's on my slide. How's about that, Alex? You're really bad at this.
Ethan Allen, it is. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm not a psychic. I got fired by Dionne Warwick years ago.
You know what? She filed bankruptcy. Did you know that, Dionne Warwick?
I did.
She should have seen that coming.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, so if you go to buy a couch in Ethan Allen, are you going to pay top dollar, Alex, for that couch?
I'm going to pay the retail price. I mean,
you're going to pay that, which is going to be top dollar. But is it a good quality couch?
Sure.
Is it a company you can trust?
Yes.
So why would anybody buy a couch from eBay? Think about it. First of all, the couch is used. You don't know what it was used for. You don't know if you can really trust the seller. You don't know the quality of the couch. So here's my point. The only reason why somebody goes to eBay is to get it at a good deal. See, I would say to you, if you're a homeowner, Alex, I'd say, you see, Alex, any buyer that walks into my office, they know they're paying top dollar. Why? Because as a real estate professional, any house I show them has a commission in the price. But the types of buyers that are committed to buying a house through me and through any realtor is not looking to steal a house. They're looking to get a good house from a company they can trust. In other words, I attract the Ethan Allen buyers of real estate, whereas the for sale by owners attracting the eBay buyer. You're not attracting the same buyers. The quality is different. Here, let me give you another objection, way to handle it. We'll give you a short-term listing. Okay. But here's the question I like you to ask yourself. When would you like to pay your brokerage fee? You see, because Alex, legally, as a real estate professional, once I bring you a buyer who's ready, willing, and able to purchase your home, meaning when we go to contract, I earn my fee there. Now, what most agents do, as is we defer the payment when you get your money, which would be at the settlement table. And so therefore, I like to have the listing agreement in effect until I get paid. Now, so if you want a shorter term listing, we can do that. Just pay me at contract. So tell me, which do you prefer, paying a contract or paying a closing? That's one way to handle the short term listing. Here's another one. I think we should list at a higher price. Well, here's the challenge, Mr. Miss Hanna. If we ask too high, then it sits on the shelves too long. And when it sits on the shelves too long, people get concerned and worried. Is there something wrong with this property? Otherwise, it would have already sold. So what we find is that when houses sit on the shelves too long, like the grocery store, we have to cut the price in order to get it off the shelves because it became stale. And I don't want you to become stale bread, you see. So there's an example, Alex, of handling objections using metaphors or analogies. But then the other set of metaphors, analogies, when you're talking about what you do as a real estate professional. So when you talk about yard sign or open house and MLS and all that, you explain it using a metaphor analogy. For example, when you're explaining for sale signs, the thing about our for sale sign, why it's so powerful is, as opposed to our for sale by owner, is because, first of all, it tells the buyers how serious the homeowner is, because they see a realtor sign, they know the homeowner's paying a fee. And if they're willing to pay a fee, that means the homeowner's really committed. That's number one. Number two is it's recognizable. The great thing about my for sale sign, Alex, is that even if you don't speak or read English, you know what it means. The third thing is, and the most important, is you're not temporarily closed. See, when you're selling as a homeowner privately, sometimes you may not be available to show the property, to answer the phones. So if you're not available for a buyer, it's almost like if you've got a serious buyer who's ready to buy anything, they're committed to buying. And if they can't get into that store, they'll go to another store, or in this case, another house, and pull the trigger. And here's the other thing. What's interesting is that when there's a realtor sign versus the FSBO sign, buyers are less likely to call late in the hours. Maybe it's 10 o'clock at night. They feel a little uncomfortable calling. But with me, my phone's going off at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I'm like 7-Eleven. I'm open 24/7. Your house is on the market 24/7, never closed, never taken off the market. Does this make sense here, Alex?
Absolutely.
All right, how we doing on time? I almost choked on that last one.
We'll go. We got 10 minutes.
All right, good. Working with buyers, here's what I'm going to suggest people do. Skill set is get buyer agency agreements with your buyers. Don't be more committed than they are. If you're working with buyers and you don't have that buyer agency commitment, then that means you're more committed to helping them than they are to working with you, and also create urgency. One of the things that we're going to tell Julie, we got to tell people how to get this forecast. Alex, what this is flashing on the screen is we created the real estate predictions for 2021, and a lot of stuff that's in there, agents are using it to show buyers why they should buy now. Interest rates are low. Property values are going to still go up. So it's still a good market to sell. It's still a good market for buyers to buy. And Julie, how do people get this predictions thing? I forgot.
It's in the Darryl's top picks in the classroom.
Is it a resource?
I don't know if it's on the resource.
You know what? Let's just put if it's not, we'll put it up there, Julie. Do me a favor, Julie, put in the chat the website, the resource, darrylspeaks.com, and the resource, okay?
Okay.
Here's it. So improving the 3 skills. We said attitude skills, listing and selling skills. Here's the last one, business skill. And I think we're going to be good on time. we talked about that business plan that we said earlier, Alex, that agents should have a pretty robust business plan for the entire year of 2021, but don't forget to have those short-term goals. But the other thing is technology. We both agree there, Alex, how technology has ramped up in the industry, how important it's been. And I don't know if you're finding this with some of the agents, but some of them feel overwhelmed, confused about what to do. You know, some people, God bless them, they still have VCRs. Isn't that cute? And it's flashing 12 and they don't know how to make it stop. So one of the things that I suggest for people to do that are overwhelmed with technology is a couple of things. First of all, don't get overwhelmed. You're not a stupid person, okay? I'm going to say that again. Anybody that's overwhelmed, you're not stupid. Look at your life. You have a lot of successes in your life. You've learned a lot of, you're not stupid. We can sometimes feel that way, but you're not. The second thing is pick one thing at a time. You know, the thing, like I'll say like lab coat. Like if somebody's looking at lab coat or they're on that new one, the Clubhouse thing. I don't know. Have you been on the Clubhouse, Alex?
Absolutely.
You know, you can get really overwhelmed
Yes.
with all the ideas that are shooting out at you. Don't just take one at a time. Take one thing that you like and run with it. And once you've incorporated that in your business, then pick the next thing. So that's my suggestion with technology. Also, farming in 2021, I think is going to be really important, but make sure you're financially ready. And I put farming as a business skill set because it's not words. To me, listing and selling skills I talked about is the words that we use. Oh, where is it? Yeah, words matter. But farming, self-promotion, those are business skill sets. And so I tell people don't spend the money until you're ready to spend it because that's a long-term investment when it comes to farming. And you've got to be consistent. You've got to do it on a regular basis. When I tell people to do raw farming, the first 2 months, you do it every other week, and then you go to monthly after that. So here's what we said today. Short-term goals, 3 ingredients. Short-term goals, have a support system. The 3 skill sets are attitude, listing and selling, and then business skills. And that's all she wrote. I'm done, Alex.
Perfect. We've got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So if there's any questions, I don't see any on the board right now. I got to tell you, you know, you talk about metaphors and analogies, and it's funny because when you were talking about the spokes on the wheels and the point of diminishing return and too many, the story I always tell is I always talk about the circus performer with the spinning plates, and he's spinning 8 plates and he's grabbing each stick, and then they put the 9th plate on. And if he can't handle the 9th plate, it's not the 9th plate that falls. It's all 9.
Yes.
So maybe he saves 1, but that 1 extra actually hurts all of them. So when you start trying to do too many things, you end up doing none of them well.
Yes.
And and then one thing I wanted to share with you too, because you were talking about the opportunity and the symbols on those letters that being for crisis. My favorite quote is a Winston Churchill quote. It's a pessimist finds difficulty in every opportunity, and an optimist finds opportunity in every difficulty. So,
I love that.
We were catching on to there that were fantastic. So love it.
You just reminded me because, and by the way, if anybody has any questions, write on the chat. Now we're going to answer it, but I'm going to tell a little funny because Alex, you just made me think of it, and that is about there were these 2 kids in a science experiment. One was a pessimist, the other one was an optimist. Have you heard this?
No.
Science? Yeah. So what they did is they took the pessimistic child and they stuck the kid in a room full of toys. I mean, great toys, beautiful toys, big toys too. Then the optimistic kid, they stuck him in a room full of horse manure. So after an hour, the scientists come back and they go into the pessimistic child's room, and the kid's on the floor with a sad face. So what's the matter? The kid starts complaining, Alex. Well, this toy is too hard. This one's too difficult. I don't know, like this color. Just the scientist said, get me out of here. I'm getting depressed. Then they went into the other room with the positive kid. Now, the positive kid was diving in the horse manure, throwing it, smiling, laughing, having a ball. And the doctor said, well, what's going on? Why are you so happy? And the kid said, well, with all this horse poo-poo in here, there's got to be a pony under there somewhere. So that's the power of being optimistic.
There you go. Well, fantastic. I think we've got to coming up against the clock here. So thank you.
Any
Darryl.
questions? Did we get any questions?
We don't have any right now, so I'll keep an eye on it. And if people have some questions, I'll make sure that we get them over to you so we can get them answered.
Well, listen, thank you for stepping in today. Tell Trista I said hello. Thank you, Alex, so much. And Sandra, thank you for you. And Jake, thanks for you. Great team at Lab Coat Agents, working so hard to bring agents to their next level. So thanks for all that you guys are doing to make a difference in the industry, really.
Fantastic. Well, remember, grab Darryl's book, sign up for the trial. It's going to help children that are food insecure and provide meals. So definitely an amazing cause, and love to see that continue to flourish and get to those 100,000 meals.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that very, very much. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.